Hey guys, my name is Teacher Megan and I am new at VIPKID. I technically started last week, which would have been Thursday, Fridays when I got hired February 9th, 10th, but I didn't start booking classes until this week, which started February 13th. And so far I've had two classes, one main course, major course with a young girl, and then one trial no-show. So that's all my experience so far. But I did want to share a little bit about my interview process and the practicum. But first, I wanted to mention that I am in France. I'm an American, so that means I'm in Central European time zone, which is a great benefit. So if you're an American expat living in Europe and you're interested in working for VIPKID, check it out because the hours are not that bad. People on the American continent, North America, they have crazy hours that I could never do because I'm not a morning person. So just keep that in mind. I think peak hours for me are Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And Saturdays and Sundays, I think it starts at 2 a.m. and goes to 3 p.m. But I would never do that because I hate mornings. So right now I'm trying to stick to the Monday through Friday schedule, and then daylight savings comes in a few weeks, and that's really great for me because classes get pushed back an hour. So I would be working from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. Because, like I said, I hate waking up early. About the interview process, there's some older YouTube videos on YouTube that are not quite as accurate anymore because some things have changed. So when you apply for your job at VIPKID, you don't have to submit a resume. It's just basically an online form where you have a couple boxes where you fill out whether or not you have a bachelor's degree, which at this point is mandatory, where you live, what your nationality is, whether or not you have a teaching certificate, and then you have boxes to free fill out your teaching experience. And then you submit it, and you know right away whether or not you get scheduled for an interview. I think that that's kind of based on probably an algorithm that they have. If you meet XYZ in the boxes, they just go ahead and schedule an interview. Then you have an interview with a mock class, and that mock class has a few slides. It's a short mini lesson. It's about 10 minutes long, and you can get lots of great tips on those from other YouTube users. And I would say that don't be worried if they cut you off. I've heard that's very common. So as long as you get moved on to the next step, you're doing well. They'll tell you right then and there what your payment per class is, and you want to do really well on that initial interview because that determines your pay. As soon as you get approved for that, you get an email sent to you that has your contract details in it, and it's got your next steps for your practicum. So you don't know at that point whether or not you're going to have one or two practicums. As far as I know, they happen one at a time. So when you get to the next stage, you can only see that stage. That kind of stressed me out a little bit because I wanted to see the whole process, and instead I was only able to see the little chunk at a time. So you get an email. It goes over the practicum process. It goes over the contract, but you don't do anything with that yet. You just prepare for your practicum one. And they give you the slides in the email, but also your portal, where you created an account to submit your application, moves to the next step in the process. And it's got all the materials and information that you need there. And I believe that's where you can start training. So you have X amount of time to complete your training process. So there's tons of YouTube videos and slide decks to review that go over the VIP curricula and the sort of process for VIP and why they do what they do. I feel that it's lacking in certain details. So if you can get onto a Facebook group at that point, that would be good, because then you could get a lot of answers to your questions, because at this point you don't have access to Fresh Desk, which is the help center. You don't really have access to any of the Facebook groups because you're not an official teacher yet. I asked some questions to some YouTube users and they responded to me by YouTube message, which was awesome. Thank you so much. And I was able to get some questions answered that way. But just read everything. You have X amount of time to do it. I think it's 24 hours. And then you go to the next phase. So you're kind of prepping and reading and training all at the same time. Then you have your first practicum, and they tell you whether or not you should have a second practicum. I had to do a second practicum, which is fine, is apparently the norm. I felt like it was really good preparation, because at the second practicum you get to do a higher level class. And those classes are what I really enjoy doing, because I like working with older children and doing more challenging content. So that was good for me. Now at my practicums, I had 2 different practicum instructors. You don't know who they're going to be at the time, or sorry, evaluators, practicum evaluators. I didn't know who they were going to be. The first one was very nice, gave lots of good tips in certain areas, and then the second one was also very nice and gave good tips in other areas. The one thing that they both stressed was working on my synthetic phonics, since I didn't have a lot of training in that area. They also had slightly different interpretations of good TPR techniques. So for one of them, I was going like this in terms of like, I hear you, what are you saying? You know, like talk. And the other one said that this means repeat. So I don't know exactly where to fall. I've been doing this as a default just to indicate to the student that I want to hear from them, whether or not they're repeating me, which most of the lower level classes they will be doing that, or whether or not you want to get a specific answer from them. And I did a couple of things during my practicum that they thought were interesting and different. I used my puppet, which is back there, Mr. Owl, in a different way than I think the practicum evaluator has seen before. I'm sure other teachers have done it too, but I used him only for singing. So when it was time to sing the hello and goodbye song, I had the puppet here, and I was like, hello, can you sing a song with me? Da, da, da. And then when the kid is singing too, you make the puppet keep going back and forth with you so that he's singing along with the child. The other thing that I did is there was in the practicum 2, there's a lesson on the soft C sound, you know, like words like face and cycle and stuff like that. And I took out all the vowels in my flashcard deck. Pretend that these are just for another lesson, but pretend that these are vowels. And so I held up the C, and then I would shuffle the deck, and it would show a random vowel. And I would say, okay, C-A, is that a hard C or a soft C? Hard C. C-E, is that a hard C or soft C? Soft C. So I think the practicum evaluator liked that a lot. And let's see what else. And that's about it. So once you pass your first practicum, you get moved to a second practicum, which means you still have access to all the training materials, and then you get the slide set. So you can only prepare for one slide set at a time. So you just kind of have to be really patient. I went out and I bought all of these props for my mock interview, and then when the first practicum came up, I needed more props. I had to go out and get more props, and then when my next practicum came out, I had to get more props. So just keep that in mind, that it's hard to sort of see them all at once. But if you watch some of the videos on YouTube, you can get a pretty good idea of what each practicum entails specifically. I mean, you don't get to see the slides or anything, but you start to pick up pieces as you learn and sort of say, oh, this is good, this is not good. And then finally, after you're done with all your practicums and you've passed, you'll get an email letting you know, and then you have 24 hours to sign and upload your contract, and then to um, finish all the other pieces. So one of the things that you can start working on is collecting a professional headshot of yourself and two sort of casual photos, but not too casual. Mine were both pictures of me being a tourist because that's something I enjoy doing as part of my interest and stuff. And then you have to do an intro video, and you can see by all the different examples on YouTube what to put in your intro video. It's pretty simple. Hello, my name is. Welcome to VIP Kid. I'll see you in the classroom. Bye. That kind of thing. I did mine a little differently than some of the other videos that I had seen, so hopefully that's going to work for me. I'd like to reshoot it at some point when it's not raining and windy out, but I had to get it out because you have a specific time period to get it up. So if you want to start working on your video right away, like I said, go review what else is out there on YouTube and then try to put something together. And then after that, you just wait for them to activate your profile. So my profile was activated Friday evening, but unfortunately, I couldn't get any bookings because they didn't put these codes on there about what classes what programs you're allowed to teach. So it would say something like major course, trials, and it has some other codes that I don't quite know yet. So they didn't put that on my profile. So for the first few days, I didn't get any bookings and it was impossible to book me. So I put in a request at Fresh Desk and they fixed it, and I immediately got an overnight booking. So and then I got another booking for the following week. So I thought that was very promising. I don't know exactly how I attracted new students so quickly, but it was the magic touch. Now I'm just hoping that my schedule fills up a little bit more and that I can really get going. And yeah, that's been the process. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you. Okay, see you guys next time. Bye.